Welcome to the Overwhelm is Optional podcast, where each week we find ways to gently rebel against the nonsense that overwhelm and exhaustion are just the price you pay to have the life you want. Hello, and happy Christmas. So in this week's episode, I want to talk about how to make your Christmas unexpectedly lovely, because you can, honestly, and it's not that hard. So let's dive straight in. So Christmas, I love Christmas, but there have been times in my life when Christmas has been not so much fun as it is now. And I think a lot of this comes from, well, I know personally for me, and I know this will be true for my clients, a lot of the overwhelm around Christmas is about expectations. So because we are big-hearted and we love about Christmas, the big-heartedness about Christmas, the opportunity to spend time with those we love, to slow down, to enjoy the season. So for us here in the UK, obviously it's dark right now when I'm recording this, which is obviously before Christmas. It's really cold. I'm sure by the time Christmas rolls around, it'll be back to its normal rainy day, but it's certainly dark, and that can be really tricky in terms of the feeling like you're running out of time, particularly in the run up to the solstice, to the shortest day, which is actually the day this goes out. And that can obviously create overwhelm, because if you feel like you're running out of time, you just get more pressure. And the more pressure, the more overwhelm, unless you have a way of just saying, oh, there's a ton of pressure, I'm just going to notice that and be kinder to myself, or let go of something. But in general, pressure means more overwhelm unless we're really skilled at dealing with that kind of pressure. So noticing that Christmas really is a time with a lot of opportunity to get lost in overwhelm, for want of a better way of putting it. There's just a lot of opportunity to get lost in overwhelm. So there tends to be in our working lives this huge push to get everything done before Christmas, despite the fact that actually Christmas is quite a short period of time. So this year it's all over in a weekend, isn't it? Now, that doesn't mean you're not taking longer off, and a lot of companies are obviously going to be closed down for at least a week, which is great. It's a really good thing, but it's not a really good thing if everybody's trying to get 4 weeks work done in 3 weeks, because that's just masses of pressure. It's impossible. It's bonkers. Why do we do this to ourselves? And it's worth checking in with yourself whether you're doing that, and secondly, whether there's any kind of in order to have this time off, I need to earn it. So I have to work harder to earn it. Now, somebody who's self-employed, I know that can be especially true for myself. It's like, in order to have that time, I need to fit in masses and masses of work first. And I'm just not available for that anymore. I've done that. It didn't end well. And also on the way to it not ending well, as in burnout, it wasn't much fun. So I'd often get sick. I'd have flu. By the end of my teaching career, I was getting severe flu twice a year, just normal, pushing through it a lot of the time as well. So having some time off, but then pushing through it. And then the recovery time was just outrageous, and just feeling rubbish for most of the winter. So I'm not available for that anymore, obviously, because that's the whole purpose of what I'm doing in this podcast. So if I was available for that, this would be a nonsense. So there's a decision there, isn't there? There's a noticing how things are for us, what's the normal pattern, and what are we available for, what becomes your new non-negotiable. So to have an unexpectedly lovely Christmas, I've got to start by just looking at, okay, so Christmas, I love this about Christmas, but because it is such a special time of year, there's a lot of opportunity for overwhelm. What do I want to do about that? But just the first step is just noticing it. So just talking about it, just noticing that it can feel that the world, we're running out of time because the days are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. That is worth noticing, whether that season affects you. Now, obviously, to my listeners who aren't in the part of the world where that's going on, you've got either the same equal daylight going on, or you've got the opposite going on, where the days are getting longer and longer and longer. It doesn't really matter. What matters is, how do you feel? How do the seasons, or the lack of seasons, how does the daylight, the darkness affect you? How do you feel about it? Because that's all that matters. And then on top of that, on top of the seasonal variation, we've got the whole work, push to get everything done. And then on top of that, we've got these huge expectations. These expectations that Christmas will somehow be wonderful, will be perfect, or will be a break because we desperately need a break, or will be whatever. Or sometimes we drop all those expectations and say, no, I'm sick of the pressure of expectations, so I'm lowering my expectations. So it's worth noticing what's going on for you. Are there these enormous expectations? Now, one of the things I have noticed is about present buying and card sending out, and how that can really suck me into overwhelm with the whole, I need to find a present that represents how much I love that person. I need to find this kind of perfect present. It's just impossible. It's literally impossible. But because I love people and want them to be happy, I've often put far too much attention into that aspect of Christmas, and that is just not been good for me. So this year I've noticed that I've really managed to let go of that, and I actually think I've got better presents, actually, which is quite interesting. I don't know if that's true, because I guess I have to wait to see how each person accepts the present. But I think the point for me now is that I'm separating the way I show my love to somebody from the present to a certain degree. I mean, I don't know if you can completely undo it, because the art of giving is that we are expressing love, isn't it? Or we're attempting to. But I think it's worth remembering that actually intention matters. Intention matters far more than the gift. Far more than the gift. So looking at somebody's intention behind it, and also when we accept each other for where we are, which can be really hard. And I think one of the reasons it's really hard is because we don't tend to accept ourselves where we are. So if we can just start with, okay, so this year I don't have any time, or I don't have a clue what to get that person. I don't know that person well enough, or I don't know what they don't seem to need anything anymore, or I don't have the money that they would expect me to spend, or I don't feel like the money matches what my expectations are of gift giving. Like, just watching all of those things, because this is murky, messy stuff, and this leads to the whole Christmas overwhelm, the whole messy overwhelm. I did do an episode last year about Christmas overwhelm for kind of earlier in the season. You might want to check that out if you're still in the rushing to this finish line of Christmas. Bonkers. So because there are these expectations, there's also the opportunity for huge disappointment, and the fear of disappointing others, I noticed, was my top episode on Spotify this year, even though I think I actually recorded it last year, I can't remember. So this overwhelming fear of disappointing others. We just want everyone around us to be happy. It's really important to us. And when we disappoint others, we can feel really disappointed. Or if we put a lot of energy and time and effort to finish our work and make the house wonderful and invite these guests and make them feel at ease, and then it doesn't all work out, then actually it's us who are overwhelmingly disappointed. And it's just painful. I've kind of been thinking about this recently quite a lot. What is it about disappointment that's so painful? What is it about it? I don't know. I'm still I'll leave that with you, because I'm still exploring that. I suspect there'll be an episode pops up about that soon. And then I think it's really worth pointing out that the overwhelm of Christmas is because we're trying to do something that's impossible. Now, I know that I've spoken a lot about achieving the impossible, making the impossible possible, and that's particularly represented by the idea of a dietary cheeseburger. And there was a whole episode on that. The idea that you can have what you want if you find out how to do it your way. But what I mean about Christmas impossibility is it's not all about you, and only you can control your reactions to it. You can't control other people's reactions. So there is an impossibility, which causes a lot of pressure, about trying to create a Christmas for other people. That's not possible. We can only do what we can do and then let go. And I know for me as a mother that wanting to make everybody happy and create this family Christmas for my adult children and their partners, or for my partner's family, wanting everybody, is just too hard. Like, it's not possible. And also, when I put a lot of effort into it, I think then there's been pressure there. So it's unhelpful. So the reason I'm pointing all this out is not for you to go, oh yeah, I do that, oh no, uh-oh. It's instead to just neutrally notice. So we have to start where we are, right? We have to start with just noticing what's going on for us. And then notice on top of that the layers of regret, disappointment, anxiety and worry, the fear of it not working out, or even the opposite of that, the whole, oh, I'm so excited, this is going to be extra good, just noticing all of it, and the judgments we're putting in with that, the expectations we're putting in with that, the emotions around that, the fear and excitement, all of it, because it's Christmas. It's an important time of year culturally for a lot of us. And before there was Christmas, there tends to be in most cultures a festival of lights in the dark winter, not surprisingly, because it's tricky to get through a dark winter. So it's an important time of coming together, of lighting up everything up, because it's so dark and dreary and cold, and of having good warm food together and lighting fires and bringing in greenery and lights. It matters. It's a significant part of who we are as humans. So the idea that it doesn't matter, that it's not going to cause overwhelm, if you think about it, is just kind of being a bit hard on ourselves. So just starting to notice what for you is coming up and how you're feeling about Christmas, that's just the first step. It's always the first step, isn't it? Start where you are. Notice everything that's going on, and then notice it neutrally, which means taking a step back and just noticing it as if it was all the same. The fear, the anxiety, the excitement, the anticipation, all of it, just noticing it all. It's just useful information, because it is just useful information. And then from that part, you can then decide what to do about it. So when we notice the overwhelm's brilliant when we notice it. If we don't notice it, it's really not great. And the problem is we don't want to notice, because we don't want to admit that we're feeling overwhelmed. But once you call it out, just personally, privately to yourself, say, oh yeah, this doesn't feel great. I can't think straight. I just feel really overloaded. I feel like there's a lot of pressure. I'm feeling really tired. I'm just not feeling at ease. This isn't as much fun as I want it to be. Yes, I am pushing myself really hard to finish stuff. There's just, I'm putting too much pressure in terms of high expectations of keeping everyone happy. Once you notice all of that special Christmas overwhelm, from there, you can just decide, well, I'm not available for that. Now, I know that sounds really easy, but the truth is that just seeing it and then noticing it neutrally is really, really powerful. A friend sent me a review of my book, and part of it talks about this, is about how she kind of rushed to the end of the book to find the practices and solutions, and then was like, is that it? And then realised how profound this neutral noticing is. It's hard to explain it unless you practice it, and unless you practice it regularly. But seeing what's going on for you, noticing, realising, oh, I'm putting loads of pressure on myself. That's why I feel overwhelmed. Oh, I'm trying to do too much at once. That's why I feel overwhelmed. It makes a huge difference. From there, you actually don't have to take any action. You could still choose to try and do everything, to try and finish everything, to try and keep everyone happy, to try and get the perfect presents, to try and do extra work so that you can take time off. You could try. You could still do all of that, but doing it with the awareness that you're doing it is really helpful. Seriously, it's really helpful. So you could just do that. So we could stop the episode now and you've got some awareness of what's going on for you. Or you could choose to stop trying so damn hard to be perfect and to keep everyone happy. You could just decide, I'm not going to push myself so hard. Now, it's hard to go from push to completely not pushing. And if you love Christmas and you love keeping people happy, you're not going to want to stop doing everything. Probably you might see what happens. You might be surprised. But the whole just deciding, right, I'm not enjoying this overwhelm, and this pressure, and I'm feeling tired and I'm a bit bored and weary of this actually, and it's a pattern, and I wonder what would happen if I gently rebelled against this, and just for a moment, just for a day. I can always tomorrow decide I'm still going to do all of those things, but just today or just for the next half an hour, I'm just not going to try so hard. That can be if you do it playfully and curiously and kindly and with love for yourself and everybody involved, it can be a really nice rebellion. You can make it into your own Christmas rebellion. This year, nobody's going to notice, but I'm just not going to try as hard. I'm not going to worry about everyone else. I'm just going to worry about me. I'm just going to think about me and how I feel and what I want. Now, that sounds really selfish, but what's really interesting about that is when we do move our attention from trying so hard to keep everyone around us happy to keeping ourselves happy, something shifts. And that shift is really cool. So I invite you to just try it, but playfully. Not in this big, huge. It's the gentle rebellion for a reason. We do it secretly, privately, gently. It's no big deal. It is a big deal, but don't tell your brain that. It's no big deal. You're sneaking past your amygdala. It's no big deal. I'm just going to try this. It's not forever. It's just for now. It's just a little tweak to my Christmas preparations and how I approach Christmas. Don't worry, brain. Everything's okay. And I don't mean that in a patronising way at all. I mean it very seriously. Everything is okay. All you're doing is gently changing your attitude, your perspective, the way you use your attention and your energy. And you're doing it with love and playfulness and curiosity. So it is all okay. It's safe. But we do it in a sneaky way to sneak past the amygdala, the fear centre in your brain. So as not to panic it into thinking something's different, because your brain's highly alerted to changes in your environment. Of course it is, to keep you safe. But this isn't about keeping you safe, because there are no bears coming to get you. Everything's fine. All you're doing is saying, right, this year I'm going to do Christmas with less overwhelm, with less pressure, with more playfulness, with more ease, with more fun, with more joy. I'm just going to enjoy it more. I'm just going to give up trying to keep everybody happy and let them decide for themselves how they want to experience Christmas. But I'm just going to do that with love, because Christmas is about love, right? We know this. That's why we love Christmas. It is about love. It is about light in the middle of a dark winter. So can you just for a moment focus on yourself and how you want to feel this Christmas? So we're not going straight from Christmas overwhelm and pressure to an unexpectedly lovely Christmas. We're going through neutrally noticing what's going on, where the pressure and overwhelm is coming from. Then deciding or not might just be enough for you to notice. That might be all you want to do. That's cool. It's your life, your Christmas and your gentle rebellion. Woohoo! You get to do it your way. So then the next step is to decide to be less available for the pressure and overwhelm, secretly changing your attitude, maybe doing less, maybe just changing the way you feel about it and where you place your energy and attention. And then the next thing is to say, ooh, if I could design Christmas how I want it, how would that feel? So before we start changing the how, we start with the more important thing, which is how would Christmas feel to me if? So we're not going straight for unexpectedly lovely. We're next going to ease. So if I felt more at ease this Christmas, how would that feel in my body, in my heart, in my mind? So noticing. So for me, ease means that I just feel at home. I can be myself, that my mind's not clogged up with trying to predict things so that I can avoid disaster. So that would be in terms of food at somebody else's house, travel, presents, other people's conversation, questions, opinions, if I find them difficult to cope with. You know, there's all of that clash, isn't there, at Christmas? It has that weird energy of different people coming together. I don't know. There's just something about Christmas that can turn into awkwardness or I don't know. I watched 4 Christmases yesterday. Have you seen that one with Reese Witherspoon and can't remember his name? And they end up going to all 4 of their family Christmases in one day, and it just parts of it was I couldn't watch. It's just too much cringing and family dynamics. But obviously in the end it has a lovely happy ending, of course, because that's the purpose of Christmas films, isn't it? But that in itself can be part of the pressure and overwhelm of Christmas, is that Christmas films, they go on this little adventure, but they always have this wonderful, wonderful, loving, happy ending. And Christmas isn't always like that. You know, Christmas can be really hard. I've had some interesting Christmases, which have not been much fun. You know, throughout your life, not every Christmas, or maybe not many Christmases at all, are going to feel great just because of the extra energy running around Christmas. So if that's true for you, if there's stuff coming up where it's like there's tension, there's possible pressure and overwhelm, what would the opposite of that be is a good place to start. So what would ease feel like to you? So for me, it's that just ease, my mind has space in it. I can tune into myself and listen to myself. I feel connected to myself. I'm looking after my body, so I'm getting enough rest and good quality food. I have control over, I don't know, I've been to some Christmases where there's a lot of pressure to drink and I haven't wanted to, so it's feeling at ease over that, being able to confidently say yes please or no thank you to food and drink. There's all sorts of things, but what is it for you? It doesn't matter about me, does it? It's about you. So what would an easeful Christmas feel like to you? And it may just be the opposite of the things that are causing the pressure and overwhelm. Maybe that somebody else does the Christmas shopping, somebody else cooks, I don't know. You decide. But I wouldn't go straight for the actual actions. I'd just go with what would it feel like? How would it feel? Will there be an absence of worry about other people? Probably. I know there would be for me. That it was just easy. It was just thoroughly enjoyable. That I can sink into that lovely, lovely feeling that is Christmas, that genuine Christmas spirit of generosity and love and celebration of light in the middle of darkness. That's it really for me, is being able to sink into that feeling rather than being pulled out of that feeling with the need to make stuff happen. And then from there, you might realise that actually there's things that you really want to do on Christmas Day or around Christmas, and there's things you really don't want to do. And then you can decide if there's actions you want to take to make that happen, or if there's things you want to let go of. Often it's actually just letting go of some stuff, like some expectations, or trying to complete huge lists, or I don't know. Is there anything you can let go of that would be nice to let go of? So I was talking to a client yesterday who'd woken with a migraine but didn't realise it was a migraine. I'm sure she won't mind me just gently telling the story in a way that you can't possibly know who I'm talking about, obviously. But what was lovely is that she listened to herself, and it resulted in her really, really realising that the world doesn't stop if she stops. And I loved her story. Well, first of all, because it's a huge celebration for me, obviously, when somebody's worked closely with me and has taken on board the skills, perspectives and habits of the Gentle Rebellion and made them work for themselves. That's huge, obviously, because I've poured my heart and all my knowledge, skills and wisdom into the Gentle Rebellion. So when it works, it's just amazing. Each time it works, because it always works. But each time I hear reflections back about how it's working under different circumstances in different aspects of somebody's life. It's so cool, so cool. And that's probably one of the favourite parts of my work, is the teaching and coaching somebody to get their life working for themselves using these methods, which don't require huge upheaval. And it is gentle, but it's very powerfully rebellious. So that was really exciting for me, that whole realising that the world doesn't stop if you stop, that it's okay to stop, that you can stop, that it's possible. And that takes courage, right? So huge celebration for that client. Absolutely huge. Woohoo. I mean, seriously, how cool is that? Do you know that for yourself? I hope you know that for yourself. If you don't, and you want to come and work with me and find that to be true for yourself, then I'd love to show you how to make that true for yourself. Love, love, love to. And at the moment, I'm offering this tiny package, which is Break Through the Overwhelm session. It's not just a session, it's also support either side of the session, but it's just a one-off short way of working with me. So check that out. That's in the show notes below. Or book a curiosity call and have a chat about whatever you like to work together. I'd love to talk to you. Be lovely. Right, where were we? So the next thing to do is and this is rebellious, me playing rebelliously with you here. This is slightly controversial, because I'm going to dare you to resist the overwhelm as a bad habit. Yes, resist the overwhelm as a bad habit. Because it is really, isn't it? Because everybody around us is doing it. And it's what we're trained to do. But in the end, it's a bad habit. Resist it. Resist it. Just say playfully, I'm done with this overwhelm. It's not for me. I'm not available for overwhelm. It can be fun to do this. Make it fun. If it's not fun, then it doesn't work, because in its essence, the playful nature of that sentence, resisting the overwhelm as a bad habit, is playful. If it's not playful, then you're not resisting, you're taking overwhelm into it. Can you see? The only way to do it is just for fun. Like, yeah, I'm not doing overwhelm. So it's like when somebody's at work and say, can you just do this? Well, I can't do it now. Might be able to do it next year. Oh, imagine if we said that. How cool would that be? Try it. Let me know what happens. So when we resist overwhelm, or when we notice overwhelm and it starts to clear, or when we purposely take the steps to eliminate overwhelm, we allow in ease. So this is really important. So to me, the opposite of overwhelm is ease, that feeling at home in your life, being able to think straight, having energy, being able to do things in a way that just is right for you, that feels good, that energizes you, lights you up and makes you feel like you're in the right place. Like stuff works for you. And that kind of ease comes not from trying to create it. We can't try hard and achieve ease. Ease is an allowing and a letting go of the overwhelm, which is cool because it's much easier then, right? We think that we have to work really hard to get ease. When I get to the end of my list, when I achieve this, then I will feel at ease. But it's not true. It's never true. And if it is true, it's very temporary, that relief. Oh, thank God I got that done. Thank God that happened. And then we just slip back into the normal, well, overwhelm is just how I do things, because everybody's doing it. I mean, we're led by overwhelmed people. It's everywhere. It's just like, well, it's just the way things are done, Heidi. No, it might be, but not anymore. Let's not do it. We rebel. We resist the overwhelm, because we know that on the other side of the overwhelm is ease. It's hidden by the overwhelm. So the next step, so you're going via ease, so notice the overwhelm, what it is for you personally, decide to do something about it or not, decide how you want to feel instead, which is usually the opposite of the overwhelm and pressure, decide if you want to do anything or let go of anything to allow that ease in, and then lastly, now you get the unexpectedly lovely Christmas. So the unexpectedly lovely Christmas comes from deciding. So if you don't know the tool that we use in the Gentle Rebellion called Unexpectedly Lovely Things, which is in the section in my book with the tools for the Gentle Rebellion, always expect the unexpectedly lovely and you will find it, is one of my sayings. Now, what do I mean by that? So overwhelm is inevitable because your brain has a negative bias in order to keep you safe but not necessarily happy, safe from bears. This means that your nervous system is constantly being alerted into high alert run from bear state, run, hide from bear, whatever, but the nervous system is being tricked and triggered into this constant high alert stress state, and we get stuck in that state because of the way our brains work and how that knowledge is used against us in marketing and messaging unhelpfully. And it's up to us to decide to recognize that and decide that we're going to rebel against that and say, no, I'm not available to have my nervous system mess with in this way. I recognize that overwhelm is a symptom that my nervous system and my mind is being constantly overloaded. I'm not available for that. I'm going to do something about it. So overwhelm is inevitable because of the way the human brain works and because the way society is set up. But we can do something about it. We can decide to make it optional. And when we do that, we are rebelling against the status quo. We are rebelling against what everybody else is doing. So we do this gently, so nobody notices, nobody comments on it. It's not a big deal to our brain. So we don't high alert our brain ourselves. We just say gently, yeah, I'm just noticing that and I'm just going to choose differently. And I'm going to do it in a way that feels really good to me. So unexpectedly lovely things is one of the ways we support the mind or the brain in doing things differently. Now, most of what we do in the Gentle Rebellion is easy, it's easeful, it's letting go of stuff. Unexpectedly Lovely Things is not always easy, but there's a reason for that, and that's because in order to retrain the brain away from looking for bears and threats onto lovely things, we need to make it slightly harder. It needs to be slightly, only slightly, really important. This is not hard work, and it's a really nice thing to do. So, of course, because that's how we do things around here. So Unexpectedly Lovely Things is more effortful than finding lovely things, because the problem with the practice of gratitude and looking for lovely things around you all the time is, yes, it works. Tons of research on the practice of gratitude being really good for you. But the problem is it can often result in, yeah, I'm grateful for that, I'm grateful for that, I'm grateful for that, and not really feeling it and not really noticing it. So we can get very blasé about the practice of gratitude. And I think one of the reasons for that is that we were taught as children to be grateful. Say thank you. You know, you're so lucky. And yeah, we are really lucky. Like, if we have a roof over our head and food in our belly, we are lucky. Of course we're lucky. And of course we should be grateful. But when gratitude becomes a should, it backfires on us, right? It's just another pressure. Another thing we ought to be better at. I know I should be grateful, but I feel like crap. See, it doesn't work. For me, it kept me stuck in a career that was damaging me, because I felt I ought to be grateful, because I knew that I had an opportunity within that work to make a really significant healthy impact on the world. So I stayed longer than maybe I could have done if I thought about it more and aimed higher, i.e. gone into coaching. Had the courage to do my original plan, go into coaching and miss out teaching altogether. But then I wouldn't be the brilliant teacher I am today, and I wouldn't be able to dissect this stuff and teach it in a way that works for my clients and people who buy one of my courses. So it's all fine. Back to always expect the unexpectedly lovely. So the way we do this is on the hour, every hour when we first do this, because this is the easiest way to embed a habit. It's just to commit to doing it for 1 minute on the hour, every hour. You probably won't do it that often. That's okay. We're aiming to do it at least once a day. If you don't like the failure aspect of setting it as a task on the hour, every hour, and then not managing that, then just change your commitment, but make sure you do it every day. So whatever works for you, in the easiest, least overwhelming possible way, obviously, always. So what you do is, instead of noticing all the brilliant things around you, you find one of those things and look, or find something alternative. You look for something extra. So something unexpectedly lovely. Now, unexpected is that delightful, playful surprise. So for me, it could be like just the way the light falls on something, because that's going to change. So it's not always there. I think it's easier with something that changes. So for me, it's often going to be something in my garden. It's going to be plant-based, or one of my animals, because they're those glimpses that you miss when you're overwhelmed and too busy and stuck in your head. It's unlikely for me to be something fixed in my environment. But having said that, I do know people who, and I have used, like, oh, right, so right here now I've got my blue Snowball microphone, which I use for recording this podcast. And it is unexpectedly lovely because it's really cute. It looks like a little R2-D2. I love it. So that would be, for example, something. I did have a client who noticed that one of the bins at work looked like it had a smiley face on it. See, something like that. And then every time she saw that, she would smile. So the unexpectedly lovely things that are fixed in your environment can become permanent unexpectedly lovely things. But once they downgrade themselves to, oh yeah, just noticed that, because the brain pays more attention to differences in the environment, the things that are the same. This is why we need to search for the unexpected, not just the lovely. Can you see? It's slightly more effort, so you're retraining the brain, you're making new pathways in the brain, but it also is more lovely by its nature of being surprising, being unexpected, being delightful. Woo! And it's more playful. It's more playful than going, yeah, I'm really, really grateful for the carpet beneath my feet, for my Wi-Fi working really well today, for the beautiful pale pink colour, which I believe for me is the colour of love, that I painted my office, the cow picture to my side. Like, there's lots of things that are lovely, and they are absolutely delightful, but the unexpectedly lovely, the cheeky way my microphone is sitting there recording this for you, is just something even better. So if you want an unexpectedly lovely Christmas, you're going to use unexpectedly lovely things. So there's two ways to do this, and both are equally good, and I'd probably do both. So the first one would be, what would make my Christmas unexpectedly lovely? And that's a feeling. So if something comes to mind like, oh, it'd be really cool if that person phoned or could come after all, or something like that, or it'd be really cool if I was given this, or it'd be really cool if somebody helped me with this, whatever it is, anything, but think about why would that be unexpectedly lovely? What is it about that? And then see if you can feel that now already. So sometimes I think we can get stuck in if people would realise how stressed I was and help me, then that would be unexpectedly lovely, because then I'd feel noticed and loved. So it's worth noticing whether your desire, what you identify that would make your Christmas unexpectedly lovely, is just actually the feeling of feeling at home in your life, of feeling loved and accepted. And you can do that for yourself already, and then that makes it easier to have an unexpectedly lovely Christmas, because you already feel loved and accepted by yourself, because it always starts with you, which is great, because then you have the power. Woo! But with great power comes great responsibility. Love and accepting yourself, that's it really. You are perfect and a work in progress, and the work is to let go of the idea there's anything wrong with you, because there isn't. So this love and acceptance of ourselves is the gentle rebel way. It's also all of the ancient wisdoms. When we love and accept ourselves, we are more loving and accepting of others. It's all a mirror. So when we see the world as divided, where is it in myself that I am not loving myself? What part of me am I resisting accepting? That doesn't mean we don't want to be better, in inverted commas, as in more loving, more at ease, more kind, more fun. That's an allowing. Like, all of that love, fun and ease is there all the time. It's just crushed by the pressure of trying to cope in a complicated world that demands that we overload our minds with fear all the time, that we work under pressure, that we push through exhaustion, that we ignore what we really long to do with our lives, that we disconnect with nature, with ourselves, with each other. And they're just pressures that we can resist as bad habits. We can rebel against that. We can decide that this Christmas we get to love and accept ourselves, that we get to love and accept other people, that it doesn't matter what presents we get or receive, that we still have that love and acceptance, that the most important thing is that we love and accept ourselves, and by extension of that, each other. And then everything else just comes from there, and then it's more fun, right? It's just easier. So starting with what would make your Christmas unexpectedly lovely, and then during Christmas itself, deliberately noticing the unexpectedly lovely. And nobody needs to know you're doing this. I mean, you can teach other people to do it, but the gentle rebellion is very private and secret for a reason. And that is, when we declare that we're doing something, we get pressure, even from people we love. It just changes it, because we're then under focus. We're being watched in our gentle rebellion. We're just sneakily doing it is fun. Because then people start saying, oh, you just seem really relaxed this year. You look younger. Have you had a haircut? Have you got new glasses? You just seem, I don't know, you just seem really at ease with yourself. Like, that's what happens when you permanently, as in you keep committing to yourself first, to gently rebelling, to resisting overwhelm and exhaustion as a way of being. It's just what happens. You kind of start looking younger, feeling better. That's not a promise, by the way, looking younger. But you know what I mean? We grimace less, don't we, when we're not pushing, gritting our teeth to get through our day, to get everything done. So there's two things there. One is, decide what would make your Christmas unexpectedly lovely beforehand, and then deliberately look for the unexpectedly lovely during your Christmas time. So that's a commitment to controlling your attention away from things that are going wrong, or trying to control things, or trying to keep everyone happy, bringing your attention back to yourself and allowing yourself to feel at ease, and to then deliberately notice that's unexpectedly lovely. Oh, look at that. And the thing is about Christmas and all of the lights and the smells and the special things that are only available at Christmas, most of them are unexpectedly lovely, but we don't notice them each year because they're always there and they take so much effort to create. So if we let go of that effort to an extent that feels good for us, and then even if we are especially if you're putting masses of effort in, take time to actually enjoy it. Like, it is hard work to get everything together for a family at Christmas, or for yourself, or whatever you're doing. So enjoy it. And the problem is the word enjoy it is too general. So I'm not saying that. I'm saying use finding unexpectedly lovely things throughout the day, so that you absorb the unexpected loveliness that is Christmas, that is always available at Christmas. So I hope that's been helpful. I wish you such a great Christmas. I wish you the most unexpectedly lovely Christmas, regardless of what's going on for you, regardless of whether you're having quite a tricky Christmas or an absolutely splendid Christmas or anywhere in between. I wish you moments of pure, unexpected loveliness. And I want to thank you for being here, for making this podcast what it has become, for being one of my listeners, for taking the value from what I'm sharing, what I'm living, what I'm creating, what I'm constantly developing, and finding value in it and using it in your life, or not. But yeah, I just wanted to thank you for being here. So have an unexpectedly lovely Christmas. Thank you so much for being part of this podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please do take a little moment of your time to share it, like it, etc., to help other people find it. And if you'd like to know more about my work, please go to www.heidimark.co.uk.